All right, good morning. Hello, I'm Sharona. If you're watching, you probably know that. You know who I am. This is the debate between myself and Hosie Nation regarding, some recent things that have an article that I wrote in response to an article, a very good article, by the way, that was written over at Jezebel.com. And there's been, you know, uh, there's been, I think, a very good movement to talk about how, um, how race relations in this country. We need an open and honest debate about where we are and about some of the long lingering issues that still plague us. And I know that I can always count on my friend Hosie to bring the real. And so I'm very excited to talk to him. I know that Hosie has some thoughts that he wants to say about the article that I wrote. And the title of the article is called Protesting While White, What Would You Have Me Do? And I wrote that article in response to an article. It was by Britt Bennett, very well written, very well done article that says, I don't know what to do with good white people. So having set the stage, Hosie, hit me with it. What was your reaction to the article that I wrote?
To the one you wrote, or
Yes.
the
Or do you want to
initial
start with hers? You start with whatever you want.
the initial article? Like I told you, I was feeling what they were talking about
Yeah.
because I've come in contact with a whole bunch of well-meaning or good white people before, and found out later that it wasn't the case. Uh, a
Like
lot of it,
what? What kind of, can you give us some examples of what you're talking about?
yeah. When Obama first got elected, this white dude told me, he said, he pulled me to the side. He was like, you know what? I voted for Obama, but that ain't really nobody's business. But I'm letting you know, like confining me. Like I never talked to the dude again.
Right.
And, like that was the last conversation I had with him. Like, if you, first of all, just because you voted for Obama don't really mean nothing. It's
Right.
for a whole bunch of other different reasons. And if you feel like you need to tell me some stuff like that to like get me to be your friend, or think that because of that we just gonna be cool like that, it basically did the opposite. It let me know that around your white people you talk different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that comes across totally as, hey, just between you and me, I kind of support you, but publicly, I'm
Yeah,
going to be all about that. Yeah, I don't understand that either.
yeah. I can give you a more recent example. Last week when I was at the protest downtown, in
Right.
Broadway, there were white people in that crowd who were scared of me at a
Oh yeah.
rally. Yeah. When I came, they were like moving out of my way and stuff. I'm like, okay, you're a part of the problem. I'm not here to bother. We're at
Right.
I'm not here to bother anybody. Like, and they were like, I'm not imagining things either.
No, I believe you. I completely believe you.
I've been scaring white people since I was 6, able to walk around. I mean, it's crazy.
Well,
And
now
I'm,
we live in the South. We're both here in Tennessee, and the South has a tradition of racism and segregation and that kind of reaction.
well,
So we
yeah,
definitely should point.
it's not just the South. I've been in Montana, same thing. It's just not many of us up there. Uh,
Right.
it's an American thing. It's a world thing. They,
Mhm.
they I mean, they were following Oprah around the store in Switzerland
Oh
because
yeah, right.
people gonna steal. So
Mhm.
it's not about anything but just fear for no reason. Because I'm not gonna bother anybody unless you bother me, and then we have an issue, and
Right.
things will get done. But I mean, as far okay, I know I can't go into it, but it's a situation that you know about.
Yes.
That there's so-called good people, good white people there who will not, you know, tell the truth.
Mhm.
So
See, that's the thing, Hosting, and I want to ask you this because, again, I'm so glad the author of that article wrote that because I don't know what it means to be a good white person. I just don't. What does that mean?
I mean, they framed it in the article like that, and I really don't know what it means either. I know what bad ones are though. I know what bad people in general are, but for people not to, I'll tell you what the bad ones are: the ones who don't admit to what's going on out here.
Yeah,
Like we're imagining every time we say
yeah,
something. Oh no, you're just imagining. You're the one bringing it up. If you don't talk about it, then it'll go away.
yeah.
I say all the time, you don't go to the doctor, you got cancer, and the doctor tell you, well, let's stop
Hmm.
talking about it, and maybe it'll go away. No, you're gonna die because it don't go away. It's gonna kill you, and
Yeah.
racism is out here killing.
Yeah,
And
see, I think that that's an important point. I really do. And the reason why I think that the article was so important, because we can't have a conversation when we foster an environment that doesn't allow for that discussion. And I'm with you. I far prefer people to show me who they are and to be come clean with their point of view and with how they are. But here's my question to you: when you're presented with that kind of situation, with the dude who came to you and said, "Hey, I voted for Obama, but don't say anything." Is there anything inside your mind that says, maybe I should sit down and talk to this person and maybe have a conversation about why that bothers me? Do you ever think about doing that?
no, not at all, because at that point, dude's like 40 years old. He ain't gonna change.
You don't think people can change?
No, not like that. I mean, if you got that instilled in you, I mean, why would you even say something like that to me? I
Yeah.
want I want people to be able to tell me the same things that they tell other people, and I'll make my decision whether I, mess with you or not based on that. Don't
Mhm.
give me some other stuff, because growing up, I've had to, I ain't ever, I lived in the suburbs around white people.
Right.
We moved in, they hit me in the face with beer bottles and calling me nigga and all kind of shit. And this is supposed to be the good neighborhood that my mom was
Right.
trying to move us to, and the white people didn't want us there. Uh, After some years or whatever, I guess some of them, like the ones like directly across the street, I became friends with, their sons, and we ate at their house and stuff like that. But then some Mexicans moved next door to my mom. They came across the street saying, "What we gonna do about all these Mexicans moving in?"
Mhm.
So I mean, they were
Right.
white people, but when the Mexican came in, they don't know these people, but they
Mhm.
automatically assume that it was going to be some trouble. Just like when we moved in 20 years earlier, they went
Right.
across the street to the other neighbor. Oh, look at some niggas moving in. So
Yeah.
this is the stuff I have to deal with. So, you know, a prime example is 9/11. When that happened, I had rednecks coming up to me in the store wanting to talk to me about Muslims and stuff.
Right.
I'm like, no, we're not together. You hated me before them planes hit. You was talking about niggas.
Mhm.
You can't come to me talking about no Muslims and stuff.
Mhm.
Because I already know what it is. Don't do that. But they want to, make it like it's like we all in it together when it's against somebody else. But before then, it was about us. So
Yeah.
you just keep it like that. I'm not really, and maybe it's a problem with me. I'm not really ready to forgive people for stuff like that. Cause
It's hard. I mean, it's hard. And let me ask you this: the example that you just gave, the people who treated you and your family poorly. They say, I don't know that I'm completely ascribed to this theory, but they say that you fear what you don't understand. You don't, you distrust and dislike what you don't understand. in your situation, once the people around you got to know you and your family, they became more accepting of you. Now they don't obviously. I mean, they're still showing racism, and I know you have a lot of thoughts on this. Racism has a lot of levels, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, even when people come to this country, they already know they one step. You know, the people who immigrate from South America, whatever, come up here already know they a step above us because nobody like
Mm-hmm.
black people anywhere. Like they come up here, there's a Mexican like a supermercado or whatever they call it down the street. I
Right.
can't go in there and shop. They don't want me in there. The only people they want to come in there look like them. So, I mean, it's a whole bunch of levels, but we're always on the bottom, though. No matter what it is, we're always on the bottom.
I want to ask you about the thing about the moving thing, and you're living in a neighborhood where excuse me, where you're not welcome at first, maybe not welcome at all ever to some people. Excuse me, although it sounds like some of your neighbors did warm to you. Do you think that plays into why we still struggle with segregation, and why there does still tend to be a tendency for people to want to live in the communities that they associate with?
I mean, it ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, we moved. When we first moved here from Knoxville, I was 9, and we lived in an apartment in Knoxville. We moved in an apartment over by off Nolanville Road, Whispering Hills, like the McMurray area and stuff. We
Right, I
lived
know
there.
exactly where that is.
Yeah. So, I mean, and everybody was basically poor over there. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody had any real money or whatever. But then the next year we moved to Antioch, and like in Knoxville, I went to private school. There was a whole bunch of different people in there. Like I never experienced any kind of like I didn't know what it was for people not to like me because I'm black. Because I had everybody
Right.
there. We never had none of that. I was, you know, 6, 7, 8 years old. We never had that. But when we moved to the house in Antioch. They called me a nigga at home, but they bust us back down into the hood from Antioch to go to middle school. So, and that's down there by the project. I went to Johnson Middle School in the 5th grade, and you get off the bus, and they see you. The people who live over there in the hood or whatever, they see you getting off that bus. Okay, now I'm a white boy to them niggas at school, and then when I get home, I'm just a nigga. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a real crazy, like kind of it's crazy how I had to grow up because that's what I had to deal with. So, but the dudes down in the project didn't realize that I identified way more with what they were going through
Right.
than they realized. It wasn't no fucking walk in the park going back to the house because I hated it. I couldn't fucking play with nobody or nothing. So, uh, I'm not sure that forcing integration is the best thing because that's what it was supposedly for.
Right.
You know, I don't think you should force anybody to be with anybody who they don't want to be around. Because I actually prefer, if you don't like to be around me, don't don't be around me. I won't be around you. It's all good. Like I don't agree with them trying to make Woolworths make them give them some food at the lunch counters. Go eat somewhere else. Why would you want to give somebody a racist your money? Yeah, you should be able to go in there and eat, but why would you want to? I don't fuck around in Cracker Barrel. They can say what they want. Cracker Barrel ain't for us to go eat at.
Yeah.
It's
Now
just
I agree. I somewhat agree with that, but I take the opposite side of that because I think that the only way to you have to force change. Change doesn't come naturally. People are afraid of change. People don't want change, particularly why. And I hate to put it this way, but it's true. White males definitely don't want to give up the power that they've had since forever. I mean, right?
and they don't
And
want to.
so you've got to force change. You're not going to get minorities in in positions that they haven't been in the past unless you force it. Women weren't given opportunities until they forced it. The suffrage movement and what have you. I truly believe that you have to force change.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that. Like my only, like I don't care if I'm not provided a service by anybody, as long as the electric
You
company,
don't want to give your money to racists. I
if
understand that.
if it's not a necessity, like if the water company start talking about they don't want to give black people water, that's a problem. If I can't get electricity, that's a problem. Other than that, I don't have to eat your nasty ass food. I
Yeah,
can cook my own shit at the house.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. If they don't want you in there, don't go in there. Like when I see all these bars around here with rebel flags and shit, why would I want to force it? No, y'all gonna give me some beer. Why would I want to go get in my money? That's part
Yeah.
of the problem. We need to start spending. If they don't want to let us have some of their shit, we'll make our own.
Yeah,
And
and I understand that, but how will we ever come together as a society? What you're proposing is separate but equal,
not really,
which
not really, not really, because the people who, like, even on my Twitter feed, the people who fuck with me, fuck with me. The rest of them don't, and I don't give a damn. I'm gonna say what I say, and if you can still fuck with me because of that, then we good. But I'm not gonna. There's no more conforming with me though. I'm just not gonna do it. So it's not separate but equal. But I mean, I don't, I don't see why. I don't see what the issue is. If people don't want to be around you, just don't be around them. It's all good with me.
yeah, I mean, I understand. No, 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 it's all right. I understand that it's not about the food. It's not about the service. I mean, it's about the opportunity. And I can tell you, um, when I was practicing law, there were so many times that I would go to a courthouse. I would be the only female there. Um, that happened a lot in the early days, and I was treated differently. I couldn't walk through the front entrance with all the security and all that. Males could walk through in their nice suits with their little briefcases and what have you. I never could walk through without being stopped and asked if what I was doing there. Am I the court reporter? Never are you a lawyer. Are you the court reporter? What are you doing here? It was always that. And I had deputies who didn't believe me, who wanted to see my bar card before they would accept that here I am, this woman entering and I dressed in a suit, stockings, high heels, carrying my little. I'm not any different from them. I'm wearing the attire that is requested. So I mean, I get that on some level, but on the other hand, I always, even though it was hard and I hated it, I always felt like I was creating an opportunity for women who would come behind me.
Yeah, and you did, but I mean, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, like it's certain things that I've been trying to break into, radio here,
Hmm.
and it's just not happening. They don't let niggas on the radio unless they play for the Titans first. Some,
Well, I mean, it's kind of cliquish too.
yeah, is that?
Um,
But I've been in the clique. I've been in the clique, but it's always been a line in the sand though. It's a line that I can't cross, and
mhm.
and I know what it is. They scared I'm gonna say something, but I'm still gonna say it. People still hear me. They just might not hear me as much as me being on their air, but I still got shit to say, and I'm gonna say it,
Right.
and I'm not gonna rely on them to let me get that out because actually it's probably better now since I don't have all those fans who like me to hear me on the radio and then get on Twitter and see my
Right.
social shit. Oh, now they hate me. But before we was cool. Now we like the same football team and all of this shit. So now we brothers supposedly. But then when they get on and see that I give a damn about other stuff, then now it's a problem. I don't like that, and I don't need those kind of people around me. I just don't.
I want to read you something from the original article that we're talking about. And there, there's a lot of anger, justifiable anger in the article because what we've seen over, and this isn't, frankly, sadly, it's not new, but we've just had over the course of a small amount of time some very high profile cases such as Eric Garner, John Crawford, I'm drawing a brain, Michael Brown, and the kid, the 12-year-old kid,
Tamir,
Tamir Rice. I mean, the names could go on. I mean, there are so many names. It's so sad. I'm going to get choked up and cry. I want to read you something from the article because I thought that it was kind of profound. And the author said, over the past 2 weeks, I have fluctuated between anger and grief. I feel surrounded by Black Death. What a privilege to concern yourself with seeming good while the rest of us want to seem worthy of life. That touched me in a way that is so hard for me to even articulate.
yes, that's the whole article was real to me, like I said. But yeah, I mean, but I've got past that point. I don't care whether anybody else thinks I deserve life or whatever. I know I do, and as long as I continue to have it, I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about and say what I want to say. Uh, I kind of regret I didn't do a whole bunch of things at a different time, but I'm going to continue to do what I do, and if people don't like it, I feel so strongly about the stuff that I say that if people don't like it, they're the ones with the problem, not me. I,
Let me
that,
let me
that's
ask you this though, Josie. Let me ask you this. For those, I mean, look at me. I'm white. I was raised white. My father, his skin is not the same color as mine. His grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee. So he's got his skin has a swarthiness to it. I never ever, and we knew that growing up. It was never a secret. It wasn't really talked about a lot, but we knew that we had, that heritage, but it wasn't part of our lexicon. We were white, you know,
it's probably beneficial not to make it a part of your lexicon too. I mean,
but it
white
didn't.
is
I
better.
didn't even think about that because I didn't have to. I wasn't raised to have those kind of concerns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
Well,
just
well,
and
part of it was how you look though. But I
yeah,
mean, from the moment we are born, it's on.
yeah, I know that.
It just is, and people don't realize, and people don't understand. A lot of people don't. I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people don't understand how mad that can make you. Like just they like, oh, he's got a chip on his shoulder. Fucking course, I got a chip on my shoulder. A whole bunch of shit happens, and nobody does anything about it.
Yeah.
Howard Stern said today that he's surprised black people haven't burnt this country down. Because if it was him, he would. And I've heard a lot of white dudes say that because that's the difference between the two.
Oh yeah. No,
The
you
white
put
people,
yeah.
man, they fuck shit up. But we the only ones who have to sit back and wait on
Mhm.
somebody else to be good and let the system play out and shit. We the only one. Uh, they up there choking Eric Garner to death over, cigarettes, untaxed cigarettes supposedly or whatever. But the Boston Tea Party, they didn't like tax. They started fucking some shit up, and
What
and,
happened to
and
them?
they have celebrations about this shit every year. But we can't
Mhm.
loot shit. When I see people looting, I don't even get mad.
Well, let
I,
me ask you. But let me ask you, Josie. I I understand. I mean, I do. I think I understand the grief and everything that the author is talking about. But what should I do? What would you have me do? How should I respond? Because I feel like at times that black people feel like this is their fight and that they don't want white people coming in and trying to be a part of it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I do, but sometimes white people come in and they think they running the whole show. The NAACP didn't have a black president until 1970. It's
Yeah, I
like
mean
it's
that's
like it's like always like everybody else seems to know what's best for us to do besides us. That's what a lot of us are saying because sometimes the protesters come in and then they change the shit to well all lives matter. We know that shit, but we'll talk about that shit at another time. Right now, it's the black people getting killed by the police.
mm-hmm.
Everything's always being appropriated into
Mm-hmm.
something else. These protesters start off now, about Mike Brown and Ed Garner and shit. Then they'll be talking about caribou on the pipeline and shit. I mean, the shit that don't have anything to do. Don't attach nothing else to it. Let us have our shit. A lot of white people don't do that. Then you turn on the news and it's a table full of white dudes talking about what's best for the
I know.
black.
Oh my God. Yeah, you are so right. I
There
mean,
ain't none of us on there.
yep. I
So
mean, and you see that too in this whole domestic violence discussion. Until very, very, very recently, did you ever see? I mean, I've talked about it for years,
mm,
but until very, very, very recently, when ESPN and some of the bigger news outlets were like, "Oh, hey, this we might be able to sell this. Let's bring our women in here and let them talk about it." But until very, very, very recently, all you saw were white dudes or just dudes in general talking about an issue that's very central to women.
yeah, I mean that's all. White dudes are always gonna be on top of this shit. I mean, and I don't think it's going away. You can't erase 400 years or something in
Hmm.
a short amount of time. I mean, the Civil Rights Act was just signed 50 years ago. I mean, my mom and them went through some shit that I haven't, and my grandmother and all them before them. It's just a cyclical thing. But what I don't like is, I got a son. He's 16, and I think it's worse for him now than when I was 16, and that's not good. I don't care about Obama being in there. A lot of that, a lot of races came out the woodwork when Obama came in. People
Yeah.
like, okay, I've had enough of this shit. Now and I knew it was gonna happen. I was saying this shit like I wasn't on Twitter back then. I was on Facebook. I was like, when this dude get elected, you watch what happens, and it's not his fault. It's the people's fault. People want to blame him for race relations being bad here. Now, it's not his fault. But I knew it was going to happen though because people are fed up. Just like when we moved in, what it does is made those people think, well, how good can we have it if black people are moving in here? It makes people think, well, shit, maybe
Makes
I'm.
them uncomfortable, doesn't it?
It makes them think about their own failures. If if we're moving in, that they must have done something wrong. That they're somehow, you know, on a lower level than people who don't have to live around black people. That's why people send their kids to private school to make sure they don't have to be around no black people except they play sports. They import niggas to do that. It's cool that they can run that rock, but the blind side, they didn't go get a smart nigga who can read from the ghetto and help him. They put his ass out there at Ole Miss and they used him. And they did all this shit. Now, as you see, he sucks now on the
Hmm.
Titans. That's a sports sidebar. But ain't nobody checking for us unless it seems like it's the same as it used to be. If we big and strong and fast, cool. If not, it's like I don't know if you read the book called The Invisible Man, but that's probably the realest book I've ever read because, and I read it when I was 11th grade. My English teacher made me, and I didn't want to at first, but I read it like every year now because it's just so crazy. Nobody cares about us unless we're doing something bad or entertaining. Otherwise, it's like we're not even here. So
Yeah, I
then,
wrote about that. I talked about that in my article about how there was. Let me find that part of it because there was Oh, no, wait. That was I actually talked about that I wrote an article about how these police departments the departments responded to all these various protests by these athletes. And it was the Cleveland Browns police union, I believe, that came out with a statement that basically said, I'm not sure I completely understand what this phrase means, but from my interpretation of the phrase, kind of stay in your own lane. Black athletes are only good for one thing, and that is for what they do on the playing field, which to me was basically like black slaves are only good for one thing. That's what they do on the fields and how they're able to, procreate even more better black slaves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a reason it was illegal for us to be able to read. It's a reason. The whole gun laws now they got are because they didn't want black people to have them. I mean, the NRA ain't coming to the defense of Bobby Shmurda and them for having them guns. They ain't doing it.
Yeah.
When the Bundy Ranch motherfuckers out there pointing guns at police and ain't dead. Tamir Rice standing there with a toy gun.
I know.
He gone. But people want to act like they can't see what it is out here. That's the first thing. And my boy D Wright, he tweeted us and he was talking to you. He was saying that one thing you do is use your white privilege to make others listen to issues that black people face. There's one suggestion. I knew it was some suggestion gonna come in. And that's my biggest one. But people do it, but they won't do it to the point where they're gonna put their damn shit on the line. And I think that's a problem that a lot of us have because our shit's on the line every day. So, like those boys who got killed down in Mississippi in '64, that's real shit. I mean, they put their life in jeopardy that's the kind of shit that I respect. I mean, and if people don't want to do that, all right, whatever. But I have to every day, and it ain't no choice for me. It's not a choice.
It reminds me of a couple of things that happened down in Florida. First of all, the Trayvon Martin situation, where and these stand your ground laws are nothing but racist bullshit. In practice, we could probably get into that here in a little bit, but I want to go back to what the point I was trying to make. They have these stand your ground laws, and they get used to allow people like that asshole who killed Trayvon Martin to go free, and yet look at the black woman who just shot her gun toward her abuser, a guy who had been abusing her, who had been beating her, who had been harming her, and she fires a warning shot, and what happens to her? She goes to jail.
Yep. Well, I mean, if you're aware and conscious, if you black and conscious, you know that some of these laws ain't meant for us to use anyway. I can't be scared of some white dude. Just be like, I'm scared because he's big and white and shoot him and get off. I'm going to jail. Even if I was justified, I'm going to fucking jail. Black cops don't even shoot white boys. They get fired and they go to jail. That's why, like, well, what about when the black cops kill? No, it doesn't happen. They won't even fucking touch a white boy. They just won't, because they know that dude's whiteness supersedes that badge your black ass got on. That's why. I'm just tired of people just not admitting what it is out here. There's no black cops to black people though are the worst shit ever.
Why is that?
I don't know. They act like Stephen from Django. All of them. Most of them I know anyway. The ones around here, I'd probably rather get pulled over by a white dude than a black dude. Every time. I don't know if you remember Boys in the Hood, but they had a black cop. He fucking hated himself, and therefore hated everybody black, and everybody apparently was doing something wrong, and a lot of them act like that. That's why they put that character in that movie to let people know that that's how these dudes are. Like it's for real.
You think black police officers are worse on black people than white police officers?
Hell yeah.
But they don't. Do they shoot black people with the same frequency as white police officers?
I don't know the numbers on it. I doubt that they get to use their gun as much as white dudes get to use it.
That's what I was thinking.
In general, but I'm talking about as far as how they treat you, it's gonna be way worse. because I think they maybe try to show out for their fucking fellow police officer. I don't know what it is, but like I said, my experience is it's worse than a white dude most times. It's worse, and I don't get it. I really actually they should be more like because a lot of them I don't get if you black and you of any kind of consciousness, you got to be able to see what happened even in your own life. This dude, Alan West, the dude down from Florida, used to be in the army and shot the little gun
Right.
next to the dude's ear and shit. This fucker said he's never been a victim of any kind of racial discrimination in his life. And he grew up in like Atlanta or something. He's a fucking liar. He does that shit to appease white dudes so they'll vote for him. Why lie like that? If
What
they
about Barkley?
they'll vote for you
How,
anyway.
how do you feel about what Charles Barkley was saying about Ferguson and all of these things? How do you feel about that?
I hate Charles Barkley now. Like for real. Like when I was young, I wanted to play basketball like Charles Barkley. I thought, I thought he was funny, and sometimes maybe he still is. But I don't want to ever hear anything that dude had to say about anything in my life again. Because he's just, first of all, he's a dumbass. He's dumb, and now since I don't like him no more, I can admit it. He's not a very smart guy. And Kenny Smith's open letter to him basically said, "Look, you're a dumbass. Stop talking."
Mm-hmm.
But just like news outlets, they like to find the dumbest motherfucker to put on. And
Yeah.
Barkley's always on, so he needs a fucking realize what's
I'm
going on.
blanking on the guy's name, the CNN guy. What's his name?
Don Lemon.
Yes, my God, he's awful.
Oh, he's the worst, but he's making a lot of money at doing it. So I mean, it's and he loves Charles Barkley now. Like they had a segment. I
Do
did
you
a
feel
Vine.
like these media outlets are using these guys to push an agenda?
Yes, that's what they always do. I mean, the media has always pushed their agenda anyway. That's one reason everybody's so afraid of us. Tonight at 10, look at these niggas that stole some shit. Oh, tonight at 10, look at the niggas killing each other. I mean, the media has something to do with it. Ain't no white people been killed today. They can't show they fucking mug shots. Shit. The media has a whole bunch to do with how this shit is going. Cause it's not like I'm looking at this shit on TV. I'm like, that's not how it is where I live. I mean, I'm around these people every day. That's not how it is. But the media will have a lot of white people only see black people on TV. That's part of the problem. They don't know no damn black people. See, that's the difference. My experience, I've had to learn about white people.
See, that's where I feel like a separate deal would be a good thing. But I mean, we have. I mean, what do you think about BET?
Mm, I don't know. I guess at a certain point it's necessary. I mean, they don't let us have nothing else. I mean, so everything got to be all in one
Do you
place. So
think that they could do a better job of helping try to counter some of these things?
I don't know. I don't know because I don't know if it's their job to do that or not. I guess they could.
But how can you counter it if you don't have
You know
a
who own BET though, don't you? White
what's
people.
that?
White people own BET.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's,
Don't you
there's
think
no
that we
way.
need to have an independent news source, an independent media source that can help counter the Don Lemons, the Charles Barkleys, the
Now,
Ben Carson. I mean, I didn't even Lord Ben Carson. What about that dude?
man, I wish he'd just stick to doing surgery and not talking. Uh, but as far as combating it, I mean, every time there is a channel that gets co-opted by some other shit, because
Yeah.
nobody, first of all, nobody's gonna watch a whole bunch of, like I will, because I like watching documentaries and learning things and stuff. But a lot of people just want to get on TV and be entertained by something.
Now,
Period.
see, that's kind of the problem that I have with reality TV. Which that might be beyond the scope of what because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. But I mean, what role do you think reality TV plays in the misconception of of minorities? I think that it's a terrible portrayal of black women. myself.
Well, I think they got one of those shows canceled, and not because of how portraying black women. I think it was in part due to how like Greeks were being portrayed. You know, the sorority.
Sorority sisters.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I watched it. It was terrible. It was bad, but that's the only thing they putting on TV.
Hmm.
I mean, it's the only way to get on, and
But how can we change that? What can we do to change it?
I think they got that taken off. But I mean, nobody cares enough to take that shit off. It's all about money in the first place, and the only reason I think they're taking it off is a whole lot. The only way you can affect anything is affect the pocketbook. A whole bunch of people start tweeting these sponsors. The sponsors start pulling out. They were like, okay, sorority sisters, we ain't having it no more. But tune in next week for Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, right.
This shit's still coming on, so I mean, I don't understand what they accomplished by that. But and I ain't gonna lie, I watch this shit because I think I don't know. Sometimes I watch it just because I'm bored, and I think some of the shit's funny because I know people who act like that. Like, but a lot of people can't separate what's real from what's not.
See, that's what I'm afraid of. I know a lot of people can't separate what's real and what's not, and I know that young children, especially, can't separate what's real and what's not because they don't know what's real and what's not, and so we're forming another generation of children who are going to have the same perceptions that we're struggling with right now. We've just got to do better.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's kids are better. Oh, well, hold on. VH1 said they got 1.3 million viewers and they ain't taking shit off. D Wright just hit. Well, and that's all that mattered. I figured, like when I was watching it, like cause I like to watch TV and live tweet and stuff.
Right. Oh, it's the best.
Uh, I was like, there's a lot of people watching this shit. I don't know if they're gonna be able to do nothing. And more people are gonna watch next week because of what they heard or saw on Twitter. Like it's a never ending cycle. But I guess I got some bad info yesterday because I thought they were taking this shit off.
Yeah, I see. I see those. It didn't. It took a minute for his tweets to show up in my timeline. I see them now. Um, I want to ask you about a statement that he made, and because I wanted to go back to this point anyway. Thanks, by the way, D. Wright, for watching. He said, "Use your white privilege to make others listen to issues that black people face. That's one thing that you can do." And I mean, I think that I try to do that, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think for me, and this is what I wrote about in my article. I want to be. I don't want to take over the conversation. I don't want to co-opt anything, but I would like to be an ally. And so, for me to be a good ally, what can I? Beyond that, what can I do? Beyond writing about it and talking about it, and trying to educate people because I think people can change. I do. I think people can change. I think it takes someone who wants to understand and to change.
Yeah. See, I'm a little hard on this shit because my family shit. Uh, and there are some who don't agree. On the white side, don't agree with what's going on. And to me, I'm like, well, fuck them. I don't want to associate with them, and it would behoove the mothers not to either if they fucking love their children. Well, just cause y'all blood don't mean shit if they feel that way cause you got black kids, then fuck them. That's how I say, and don't ask me to go around them. I'm not gonna play nice and shit. They can't come to my house. None of that shit. So I ask a lot when it's me. If you fucking with me, I ask a lot cause I don't need no fucking double agents. That's just the way it is with me. So I may be a little harder on people than others, but that's just how it is. I know some people may not agree with that, but it's whatever. That's just how I am. I done had too much shit happen to me, and so much shit has been said and done that I'm over that shit. I'm over that shit. So
Another thing about that article, and I've told Hosie this story. I don't tell this story to very many people, but I guess I'm getting ready to tell it to a lot of people. But another thing about that article that bothered me and made me want to write my response to it was the um, you know this is our community. I don't know that we necessarily want you in our community because you're white and we don't trust you. And I had a situation not too long ago, a few years ago, where where I was dating a black male, and he took me home to meet his family, and it was a family gathering, and Mama told everybody right in front of the family that she didn't like me and she didn't want me dating her son because of the color of my skin. And so, that was a very difficult moment for me. And, that relationship ended up not really going much of anywhere because of that situation. Now, how am I supposed to respond to that?
I don't know. What did he say? I mean, that's gonna be on him. That's the situation I'm talking about.
Hmm.
If anybody told me some shit like that, then we just wouldn't talk no more. Like
Yeah.
talking about the person who said that shit to me, not whoever I'm trying to be with. I didn't get this shit at my house. My mom don't care. She ain't
Yeah.
ever cared about that shit. Plus, what she think was gonna happen? She moved in a fucking bunch of these white girls. What the fuck was gonna happen anyway? It wasn't no black girls. It really wasn't. And the ones that it was they wasn't fucking with me. So I got one rule: I fuck with who want to fuck with me. That's what I don't give a damn what they are.
Well, he
So
didn't say much, and we ended up leaving. It was very uncomfortable. Nobody else really said much of anything either.
you
And
didn't
so,
fuck with him anyway. Then that's when you know. He should have been like, "No, Mama, this is what I'm doing. You can either get with it or whatever." And that I've never been in that situation because I said my mama them ain't like that. None of my family like that. So I ain't never had to deal with that. But if I did, then I do what I said, and that's what I expect the girl to do too.
hmm
If you can't, then I can't fuck with you.
I'll
So
tell you what, I'll tell you, that was my problem, that he didn't say anything. And I kept telling him, how would you feel if it had been the different situation? I had taken you home to my family and my daddy said that to you.
now he'd be pissed, and he would expect you to be like, "No, this is what it is."
Yeah.
Like, look who's coming to dinner. I've been the dude and guess who's coming to dinner 1,000 times. And I could tell right off the bat what it was gonna be. And that's part of the problem. Uh you can take that shit all the way back to Emmett Till. Dude just whistled at the girl and he dead.
Hmm.
I talked about this shit on the show the other night. It's not the fucking I don't know what's so different. Uh I don't know why I don't know, and plus it ain't like white dudes that out here treating women like queens either. I mean, we all dudes, we all do fucked up shit, so it don't even fucking matter. Shit, but I don't care if they get mad. They only really get mad if the white girl look good. Now the fat ones or whatever, the ones they find physically unattractive, they don't care. They'll let them go. But if you got one who look good, no fucking problem
All
there.
right. So let me go back to my question then, because I still don't. What does it what does it take to be a good ally? I don't want to be a good white person, but I would like to be a good ally. What can I do to be a good ally? To be accepted as someone, and I know that you do because we know each other. We've got a history. I feel like you can tell me, because you can tell me anything. You can tell me if there's something about me that you distrust. But I feel like you and I have a trust level here, and
Yeah,
I know that I can tell you things, and I feel like you can tell me things. I think that you think of me as an ally, and I want to be that kind of person, but I don't know how to do it when I'm getting these signals like I'm getting from that article that I read?
I don't know. I guess what most would like is, I guess it's a twofold thing. They would like you to be in it, but be more of a support role instead of, taking the forefront, because sometimes it seemed like a lot of people don't like Tim Wise. I don't know if you read any of his stuff. He's from here. He's like a civil rights activist, but he's white,
Okay.
and he be the first one CNN called to talk about issues for us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I didn't want to talk to this dude is in town. This fucker won't even talk to me. I done reached out to him to talk to him or whatever. He won't fucking talk to me. CNN called that motherfucker right on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But you the ally though. Like, and he writes real good. He wrote a book called White Like Me, and it's some real good shit. But I don't feel as though he practices what he preaches when it comes to people who can't get him onto a bigger stage or whatever.
Right.
Like, there's a whole bunch of dudes like that.
There's a lot of big timing in this world,
Like,
right?
yeah, you got this dude Michael Skolnick who works for Global Grind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he tweets like he think he black or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they have him on speaking about issues about us. I'm like, you can't find nobody black.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Melissa Harris Perry would be having this dude on to talk
Mm-hmm.
about what's up with us. He talk more about us than he do about white people. He white.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your shit. Don't let us have somebody to talk.
I understand that. I advocate all the time that, we need to have more diversity. That if you're going to talk about issues that are central to someone, you got to have that, I don't know, I'm searching for the word, but that group. If it's an issue that's central to black people, and don't just have your one token Charles Barkley on there. Have a whole variety of viewpoints, right?
That's the only one they want. They want one who wants to
push the agenda.
Like they used to use Bill Cosby to tell us to pull our pants up, and they loved him then. When he was telling us that everything is all our fault and shit. Meanwhile,
he was telling y'all to pull his pants up, and he was dropping his.
Yeah, this fucker out here raping people, and he gonna have the audacity to tell us what we need to do. Just because he went under the radar with his shit. Man, fuck Bill Cosby. But that's the biggest thing. Like, it seemed like we always get pushed in the background, and then the white dude or white woman get on TV talking about, look how much I love these black people. They so good to me, and I'm gonna try to help them. The best help would be, okay, you get on TV and then be like, okay, here's my boy. He gonna tell you what it is, rather than you doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Here's him. Let him tell you what the issue is, because really, we're the only ones who will be able to speak to our side of it, like as how it makes us feel or whatever. But that's the thing. Nobody gives a shit how we feel about anything, and never have.
I could be wrong here, but the Charles Barkley thing, it seems to me like Charles Barkley doesn't understand that that he's got privilege too, and that's the privilege associated with being a rich black male who's made it and who's left his people behind.
Yeah, well, that is because he says stupid shit like they ain't black no more because they rich, and like, he's not a smart man at all. And D. Wright hit us again. He said white saviorism is a major concern when it comes to embracing white allies. Some think they're saviors, and I think that's Tim Wise is like one of these people. I
think some white activists come across as very paternalistic, as very, let me teach you, let me be the. I understand that because I see a lot of paternalism in it. I do.
Yeah.
For me, I don't even know that I can make a difference. I don't know that anybody listens to me. I don't know that anybody cares about my opinion. I just know that I have to do it.
Yeah.
I
You
know that I've
know,
got that fire deep down
see,
inside of me that just rages
one thing,
at. Go ahead.
this discussion made me think about something. And it made me think about the movie 12 Years a Slave.
Mm-hmm.
When Brad Pitt comes in, this this ties into the good white people thing. Uh, he was like, "Well, I'm gonna do your letter because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do." But he wasn't gonna fuck his shit up to do it though. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know how to feel about that. On one hand, I'm glad that he got him out of there, but why it takes so damn long? Like we the only ones who have to wait. Oh, we have to wait until it's an opportune time. Well, if something's right, it needs to be happening right now, not later. Obama get on TV talking about these things take time. He didn't say that shit about this immigration bill. That shit,
Mm-hmm.
he talked with his chest more about that shit than he do about stuff that happened to black people. That's a problem I
Well,
have.
Obama's trying. I mean, Obama's a politician who wants to continue to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not defending him. I'm not justifying it, but I think that there. I mean, I've got way too much experience dealing with politicians. But trusting a politician to lead you in any sort of moral capacity is going to be doomed to failure.
Well, he always leads on other issues way stauncher than he is. Like why would you do that? Like, and a lot of people, black people get mad at people like me saying this, but shit, if I was president, shit would be getting said all the time and done. You want to see some fucking executive orders? Let's get the. We gonna do it. You gonna be mad, but if you ask me to lead, I'm leading this shit. I'm president. Ain't nobody else president. Shit, and
I do think that he could have been I think that he could have been a much better activist for a lot of things. I
I
think that
think
he was.
he should have been. And what pisses me off, people, when he started, because I'm going off his words. He
Hmm.
said that he's going to do things that's never been done before and all this whatever. I knew it was bullshit, because of the politician thing. But let's just go with it though. Uh, People off the top said that he wasn't acting presidential. Now, as far as how do we define what's presidential, I guess we had to look at what the other ones did before him. So if I'm president, whatever I'm doing at that time is now defined as presidential. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So they can't do that shit. They can't say if I do something while I'm president, that's now defined as being presidential.
Hmm.
So if you gonna talk about the shit that affects black people, then I think it's within his rights to
I
do
don't think
so.
Obama has a very good record on civil liberties, and that to me is the most um, depressing and disappointing part of his presidency. I think he's
Yeah.
done some good things, but I think that civil liberties under Obama have been erased.
See, D. Wright just said the 263 million for the body cameras was left out of the budget that just passed. He talked all
Oh,
that.
see, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll be
I
glad.
want to ask you about I want to ask you about the body cameras thing because I think I think that that's important. There was a big debate about whether these body cameras, excuse me, were going to work because, as we saw with the televised killing of Eric Garner, and you know that cameras aren't always successful. But I think that I still think that they can work. I think that they can help because I think that you have to build a again, progress doesn't come easy. It is a long, sometimes violent path that you take to try to knock down the barriers that prevent you from having access to the rights that, well, I mean, let's face it, that white males have always had. And so it one case might not be enough, two cases might not be enough, three, and I say this isn't isolated to one thing. I've long said this about rape cases. If you're ever going to get anywhere in rape prosecution, you're going to have to try a lot of rape cases and lose a lot of cases that nobody's willing to do. And I think that you're going to see that's the same thing with these body cameras. You're not gonna win with one, two, or three. It's gonna take. Look at Bill Cosby. Nobody believed one. Nobody believed two. Nobody believed three. It took what we're at 21, 22 now, and maybe some people are finally starting to believe that Bill Cosby might be a rapist.
A lot of people still don't believe him though.
I know.
Like a lot. Like I see it every day. Yeah. I don't know how you can't believe a man who said he did it. That's what I don't know. He said he did the shit in
It's
'69
crazy.
during his stand-up. Like that's real. I believe it. So, and that's the only evidence I need. He said he did it. Like he fantasized about doing this since he was 13. He's doing it. He's probably still doing. Like they said, what 2005, 2006, he did it, and he was sucking some girl toes when she woke up.
Yeah.
Like this, I mean, this is kind of actually recent.
Well,
So
he messed up with the lawyer. What he did with the lawyer, excuse me, he messed up there because he called her a liar,
yeah,
and she sued him for defamation. And so what he's going to have to prove now is that she's lying. And so it really kind of backdoors. There's a case, excuse me, there's a case pending in I forget where, but there's another a victim that's within the statute of limitations, possibly, who, and I think that we're still going to see other women come out and say, hey, look, it was me too. It's kind of interesting the reaction to Beverly Johnson coming out.
yeah,
I think that when she came out, I think I started to see a little bit of a shift, more of a shift than possibly what we have seen. Josie, I think we should make this a series.
we can do it.
I think we should do this more often because I think that it's an important conversation. I still don't know. I still don't know how we're going to be able to overcome all of these barriers. I don't know how we're going to be able to break down there's a lot of distrust between Black Americans and white Americans. It really breaks my heart. I wish there were easy answers here. I don't have any. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't know how we can make things better. Do you?
No, not really. I mean, you said something just a little minute ago about sometimes things have to get violent, and we're not allowed to do that. So I don't know what's going to happen because of that fact. We're not. I mean, government is too big. I I actually don't think that many people care. A lot of people are fine with the way things are, and that's part of the problem. A lot of people are
Well,
fine with the way things are on both sides of it,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know either. I don't know. Did you have anything to say about the response article that I wrote?
I think we kind of hit all of it in talking now, though. Like
Yeah.
I, I do. Like I don't have a problem with anything that you're doing. And some might. And I guess what I would tell you is, if you feel like you're doing the right thing, then do that, no matter
I'm
what.
not going to stop because I forget who said. I think maybe it was one of the athletes. It was Andrew Hawkins that
Mm,
who said this. I'm not going to stop because that would make me a coward, and that would betray who I am, and that would be kind of the worst thing, right? To betray who I am. I'm not
mm.
going to stop, but I want to do it in a way that isn't offensive to anyone, if that makes any sense.
Well, everything you do gonna be offensive to somebody. So you just,
Well,
you
I
know,
guess I should be more clear. I don't want to be offensive to black people,
well,
to minorities.
some are gonna be offended no matter what anyway. So, like I said, when I do my stuff, I do it. I don't give a damn if people get offended about it or not. If I feel like I'm right, I'm right, and I ain't worried about what you got to say or how you're offended by it. Cause I don't come from a place where I'm preaching about hate or whatever. I'm asking why you don't like me for no fucking reason. And I have a right to be mad about that fact. And I'm not gonna apologize for any of it. They kiss my
Yeah,
ass.
I think that I shouldn't say I think, I hope that if we can continue to have conversations like this, maybe we can come to a better understanding of one another. I feel that lack of understanding is the biggest issue. That look, there are always going to be awful people who don't want to associate with someone because of the color of their skin or because of whatever. That is one of the main things. I think that because it's so immediate, you meet somebody, it's so immediate. You can't not recognize the color of somebody's skin. You can't ignore that. That's not something that's ever going to go away. But until you have an understanding of people that are different from you, I don't think that there's ever going to be any kind of coming together.
Yeah, well, I'm not particularly worried about the ones who don't want to come together. As I've stated before, I don't care to be around them or know them, none of that. But what I would like is for them to show themselves, so I know who not to be around.
Yeah, I think that when you allow people the opportunity to do that, though, that's when you get it. If we're constantly trying to silence people, then you're not going to get that.
Yeah. Well, I don't want anybody to be quiet. I like hearing it, so like I said, I know who and who not to be around. So, or
And I'm not. When I say you, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about
yeah.
in general. I'm not throwing that at you by any means.
I'll say this in a few seconds. There's probably gonna be a whole bunch of girls talking in the background because they're about to come in here.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Well, we should probably go ahead and end this for now. I do want to do this again. I think we should do
Okay.
this as a series, and for our next discussion, we'll pick a specific topic. We've kind of covered a lot of ground here. We'll pick a specific topic, like maybe a specific case, and talk
Okay.
about that and go at that, or cases, go at that from a variety of angles. But I've really enjoyed the opportunity, and I thank you for doing this, for sitting down with me and talking to me about these issues because, I want to be a good person. I don't know exactly what that means still, but I'd like to be, a better person than what I am. So,
Well, I think I mean D Wright pretty much hit on everything, and like I said, don't be like Tim Wise. Michael
I
Spolney.
don't even know who that is.
Oh well, you have to look him up, and then don't be like him once you find out who he is. Don't be like that,
Well,
cause
I try to treat people the same regardless.
he may actually even be watching this right now. So if you watching this, Tim Wise, you need to call a nigga. You like niggas so much. Yeah, you in town? Shit,
Sorry, guys, my nose is running.
but yeah.
Well, if you're watching Tim Wise, hit us up. I'd like to hear from you.
Oh, he might hit you up. Don't hit
You
my
want-
niggas up though. But yeah. But
All
I
right.
had fun. I had fun. And yeah, we'll do it again.
All right. Well, for those that are watching out there, thanks for watching. Would love to hear your comments, and you can comment to me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona, and Hosie, tell them where they can hit you up.
At Hosie Nation, and if it's any trolls, don't talk to me. Just keep that shit.
It might be about to be a block party, Hosie.
It might be. I'm ready. I got my block hand strong every day. So
Right.
whatever.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, Hosie. Thanks for doing this with me, and stay tuned. We're going to do this again. So
Yeah,
have a pleasant day.
all right, you too. Bye.